Hey there folks, this is Lucifer Lake of Warden coming back at you with another video. I've been planning on putting out a few videos and whatnot. This is only going to be a very quick one. We just heard about an incident that happened 20 minutes away from us, right over in Georgia. It was one of the reasons why we moved to this location, because it created a ley line that ended pretty much right where the camera is sitting right now, that intersects right in this room. The Georgia Guidestones were just blown up yesterday, and a few hours ago, from what I understand, the FBI leveled the entire site. They came in with bulldozers, and they said it was due to safety reasons. Now, for those of you who have never heard of it, the Georgia Guidestones were considered the Stonehenge of the South, of America, pretty much. No one knows who wrote them or who put them up, who paid for them. They were these big 20 foot tall stones that was erected a few miles away from where I'm standing now, and was one of the reasons why we moved here. And somebody, the night before last, blew them up and planted really high-powered explosives. They did not get them on camera or CCTV, which I find very unusual, and I'm going to be crying foul on that, because they were covered by high-grade security surveillance that supposedly was unbreachable. And yet somebody easily breached it, and no one caught who did it. Somebody managed to walk up with enough explosives to blow up one entire stone slab and damage the other four. And no one caught who did it. No one saw who did it. I'm going to call foul on this right now. This was obviously an inside job, but with the law enforcement of the area, which is complete and utter bullshit. People know I support law enforcement. We do live in the South. People here in the South have a very strong fear of the occult and Satanism. The Georgia Guidestones were not satanic. I'm going to flat out say that. A lot of people call them the Devil's Stonehenge or Satan's Stonehenge or whatnot, and that they say that they were a satanic monument. They are not. The Georgia Guidestones were Rosicrucian, and they were erected by someone in the Rosicrucian order. Now, the Rosicrucians are a Hermetic order. They are, more Christian-based than they are anything else. It is still a cult, but it is not Satanism. And the thing is these stones were erected the year before I was born. And they've been standing this entire time. For somebody to walk up and just blow them up is a demonstration of complete bigotry and fear. And one of the things that sets this sort of behavior off is stuff like what TST is doing. When they go out and they're making their abortion rituals, and they're pushing all this political stuff. This is one of the reasons why real Satanists stay away from political activism. We might be activists on our own time, but we do not involve our religious views with our political views. We keep them completely separate. We're just like every other American who has a religion and has political views, but we keep them separate, and we do so for a very specific reason. And the Georgia Guidestones are precisely a prime example of that reason. What happened at the TST house, where a uber Christian walked up to the porch and Molotov cocktailed the house, is a prime example why we don't get mixed up with politics. This is a really sad day for me because I've been wanting to go see these Guidestones since we moved here like a few years ago, and we just haven't had a chance. We were gearing up to go see them, and now we can't because the whole site is now leveled. They bulldozed it. Will somebody step up and have these stones re-erected, rebuilt, and reinforced? I don't know. Because no one knows who paid for them to begin with. If somebody was willing to go out, if the original guy or people who had them built to begin with came back and erected them again, great. But I don't think that's going to happen. These Guidestones were a one-off thing. They cost millions of dollars. I think they cost something like $11 million to have made. And that was back in the 70s and 80s. Nowadays, with inflation and everything, you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars. The amount, it would probably cost something like $50 to $60 million now. Like I said, I believe it cost $11 million to begin with back in the late 70s, early 80s. So, whoever blew them up, this is me saying to you, fuck off. You're an asshole. And this is something that you really don't have any say in. You shouldn't have a say in. Somebody should have strapped your ass to that. That's all I'm going to say to it. Somebody should have strapped your ass to the fucking stones when you blew them up. You would have done everybody a favor then. The stones were something really interesting. They were cool. They delivered a message for the continued survival of man from somebody's perspective. They delivered this message in numerous different languages, from Egyptian to Babylonian to cuneiform, Mesopotamian, all these different languages. And it was intended to be a message of peace and survival. And people with blind fear going out and just being jerks. I mean, who gets enough explosives to blow something like that up? That was very specifically done. And on top of that, to not be caught on CCTV, to not be caught on security cameras that were observing the Guidestones from almost all angles to prevent this sort of thing. That tells me it is an inside job. That tells me that somebody from an organization with enough clout decided that they were going to go and do this. And they paid off somebody in the local police department, whoever was watching the security. They organized this. This could have been a religious group. It could have been a government group. Who knows? I'm not going to say who it was because I have no clue. But somebody organized, went out, and did this. Are we going to see somebody be arrested for it? If we do, they're probably just going to be a scapegoat. And they probably have nothing to do with it in reality. And they're just going to make them look like that they did. So, that's my theory. I doubt we'll ever see anybody arrested for this. If enough people cry out for the security footage to be shown, to show what was caught on security footage, then maybe. But I don't think we will, because from what I'm understanding, the security footage didn't catch anything. They don't know who did this. So, that's what I'm going to leave it at right now. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. And until next time, you know the routine. Like, share, subscribe. And if you guys, I'm going to say, if you guys know anything about this, if you have any information that could lead to an arrest, to whatever, talk about it. Don't keep it to yourself. Make it public. because, my personal opinion, somebody did this. Somebody did this on purpose, and they're involved with some sort of agency or religious group that has enough clout in the local area, and to have, for the very next day for the FBI to come in and just bulldoze the whole thing. That's raising some serious red flags for me. Until next time, this is Lucifer Lake Borden. I'm out of here.